We're back.
It's episode 17.
2021 is the year of consistency, baby.
So for the third time, this episode's coming out on time. And yeah, we're excited to talk to you guys today. This topic is all about vitamin C derivatives.
Yeah, we preach a lot about L-ascorbic acid.
We do.
It is the gold standard, the GOAT vitamin C molecule. But a lot of you asked about derivatives, and there's a ton of vitamin C derivative products out there.
And there's more coming. Yeah, better start paving the landscape for you guys before all the new stuff comes out.
Hopefully can avoid some duds out there.
Yeah, so before all that, we do have some updates for you. So first things first.
Oh, the book is right.
We finally got the hard copy of our book. Insane.
It feels so unreal.
Now it's finally real. Oh my god. I thought that it was going to be a lot bigger, a lot thicker.
Because it felt like a nightmare writing it. And we towards the end, we had a hard time trimming content, actually.
But our publisher, Well Done Own, they did a beautiful job. We're so happy with how it looks. They really tried to keep our style for us, showcasing all of, the design. Yeah. Got our famous bubble guys in there. So, yeah.
Yeah, today I figure we'll just give a quick overview of the table of content so you guys have an idea of what kind of skincare topics we cover in this book.
Or just the madness.
It was nuts. We had a hard time. We definitely had a pocket of time where we were like, who is she? Who's going to be reading this book? Or he? Who's going to take, I don't know. There are chapters that we wrote, and one of us will read and be like, it's either too dense or too simple. It was really hard for us to get the balance.
We reorganized the chapters 3 times. I'm sure Gloria at one point wanted to strangle me for things I wanted to change, and I vice versa. So, but all in all, just really proud that we could actually do this. And never in a million years could we have predicted that our, whole Chemist Confession journey would have led to this. I think. I would never expected it.
So the book is divided up into 3 major sections. Section 1 is your basics, which is what for those of you following us for a while, it's the base of the pyramid, cleanse, moisturize, and sun protection. And then the next is on actives. We talk about the Chemist Big 4, which are vitamin C, niacinamide, AHAs, and retinol. Wow.
Yeah, and then number 3 is building a routine. We talk so much about ingredients, decoding the IL, but it all comes down to building a helpful routine for you guys. And I think that is the most important part of it. I mean, they're all important, but the one thing that is really new to the kind of content we do, and we're just really happy that we can finally piece all the education we give you guys into practical guides.
Yeah, and the book itself doesn't reference specific products. It's our first book.
Also, dealing with other brands.
Yeah, but we are planning on working on a set of book plus content for all of you who want to read the book. We're gonna put some resources together that's exclusive to book readers. That's gonna help make sense of some of the charts we have in the book.
Yeah. So
crazy. I just really want. So last time I talked about the historic bubble guys that Victoria had a weird time drawing. So I just want to showcase. We had a quill holding bubble guy for a history of cleansers, but there's a lot more, and they're all great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I also really enjoyed submitting these bubble guys to Gloria to see her reaction. So, but yeah, hope you guys like it. Can't wait. There's gonna be more content coming out, more promo info. And I think one of the coolest things that we got to do in that book was the kind of acid decision tree.
Yeah. Oh my god, what a nightmare.
Yeah. So anyways, more on that later. Yes. Other updates.
Well, our brand is still trudging along, but the biggest news is probably my personal life. I am finally moving to SoCal
Oh
where
my God,
I
we
can be
have
close to
Chris
the
here.
family.
I'm gonna cry.
The family, the Chemist Confessions family. So all this time we've been working at Chemist Confessions. I've been on the East Coast, kind of, and then the company's been in the West Coast, and our manufacturer is in Asia, in Taiwan. And I literally been bouncing between going to all three places in a year. And with COVID, it's been really hard. I haven't really gone anywhere, so working mostly remotely with Victoria, which also didn't help with this podcast consistency goal in 2020. So hopefully with this move, it'll be painful for now, but it'll be good for everyone in the long run.
SoCal is celebrating. Sorry.
And that's it. We have a concrete brand update yet, but I think
no real brand update. We are still working on the launches, but not only are we facing PD times, we're facing shipment times since our manufacturing is in Taiwan. And but yeah, you'll hear from us very soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Next.
Yeah, next. So last episode, actually 2 episodes from this recording.
Because we record ahead of time now. We're still on top of it.
Yeah, so we definitely got some feedback. Overall, it's just really happy to be back and to know that some of our friends, like, everyone's, like, excited. But we got some constructive feedback.
Yeah, we just want to take this time to share it and share our feedback. So one of our longtime followers, she wrote to us and she raised 2 points. The first one is that she felt disappointed that in our sunscreen, in the episode where we addressed the Purito sunscreen scandal, she was disappointed that we recommended to go bigger companies, especially when we are a small indie brand.
And how she felt like, as a small indie brand, we should be supporting indie ventures as well. And I mean, totally agree. We also try to do that as well with some of our friends like Stratia. But I think we want to emphasize that just keep in mind with sunscreen, the logic behind it is really about safety and the proper testing and those bigger budgets.
Yeah, exactly. And we really want to reiterate that this is very specific to the sunscreen category, where us chemists, we understand how finicky a formula is. While we're sure that there's some small sunscreen players that's trying to do their due diligence and doing their best, but it's really hard for even industry professionals to really vet those brands. So the safer bet is to go bigger, and we definitely stand by that point. And the number of times Victoria and I have had people approach us about creating their own sunscreen. We straight out had a bro call us and be like, yeah, I want to make like, a reef safe, I have like $500, I want a sunscreen. Isn't it just mixing
titanium dioxide in a blender?
Yeah, put it with a moisturizer. And some of those products are out there, you know, so it's just, so that was the best recommendation we could have given for the safety of everyone's skin.
Yeah. And another thing she pointed out is she felt like we were kind of like Debbie Downers talking about our age.
And especially both of us are in our early 30s. She felt like for us being so young to have that kind of negativity, felt like we
weren't appreciative of the time we're in now.
Yeah, and also now really supporting like, aging gracefully, and it seemed really drawing for someone a little older than us.
Right. And I totally agree. At the end of the day, it's always good to have a positive outlook. And she's absolutely right that, especially for some of our older listeners, like how that can come off as disheartening. But just understand that this podcast is really the most raw version of ourselves. We use it as an outlet to not only talk about the education, but really provide that realistic point of view on thinking about skincare, but also thinking about real life, and Gloria and I think you guys will know that we're about as raw as we can. we're so raw, it's almost it's unrefined, so I do really appreciate that comment. It's a good reality check, but just know that, of course, we're not hating, on where we are very appreciative of being able to do what we do, you know, at our age. But for me, especially when I was talking about being in our 30s, there are some milestones that come with being 30 that I haven't hit. You know, there's the pressure of, you know, having a family. And we set all of those things aside so we could do Chemist Confession. So that's really what the angle I came about. And I totally understand how that came off on a skincare podcast, as we are unappreciative of our age, but that's really not the case. It's just, you know, just sharing real life.
Yeah, and for me, the podcast, you guys know that on the Instagram, when we write, we are very, very careful of how we come across. And the podcast is kind of a more casual outlet for us to chit chat and for our personality to come through. And for me, because of my age, well, everyone in the 30s is when you notice some pretty major changes to yourself.
I mean, I still remember Friends, right?
Yeah.
Like, we grew up thinking the 30s is the worst because
Joey's like, my God, why?
Not Chandler too, you know. So, you know, it's we understand that stipulation, and I mean, so
and for me, I just want to say that I really feel like to embrace aging gracefully, part of something that it's for me, it's not for everyone, is I kind of like bitching about it a little bit. Like, make a joke of it. Like, oh man, my knee problems, my back. And it is things you start noticing in your 30s, especially for us. Like, a lot of big changes happen to us because of Chemist Confessions. And there is a pressure as a skincare brand founder to have your skin in tip-top shape, which is very difficult when you're trying on a lot of formulas, a lot of products, and your life is all over the place. And you're in your 30s. Your collagen is jumping off the roof right now. So like we didn't want to come across so negative. It's kind of like jokey, tongue-in-cheek, and also to share our personal journey. So
But again, like, she's our longtime follower, so to hear that, totally necessary. And keep writing to us, keep commenting, because that's only going to make us better, and we can address like those serious issues that are on your mind too. I guarantee you, we have moments we can be serious too.
We try.
But anyway, so other than that, we recently just did a blog update. We had one of our cosmetic chemist friends, Valerie George, she guest posted, and we got to ask her a bunch of hair questions. We are more than happy to tell you things that we don't know. So in terms of skincare, for the most part, we got your questions, unless it's like pregnancy
and very serious acne
skin conditions.
I think we got a few on very, very, very serious cases of contact dermatitis and rosacea. That isn't for more serious skin concerns, we will
chronic skin concerns.
We give you our take, and usually we'll direct you to a derm if we really feel like not our specialty.
Or we can't provide you the solution, right? Since the derms are the ones that really can provide you those tailored prescriptions.
And the questions, we usually say, know nothing about this, sorry. It's hair care.
Hair care is a big category. We get a ton of questions. I get it. There's a lot of really foreign sounding ingredients in shampoos and
all the quartz.
And to be honest, fear mongering kind of started from shampoo.
Actually, yes.
With the sulfate-free claim. So
that is one of the OG clean beauty claims, right?
So anyway, she was super helpful. She shared her routine. She provided insights on like, is there a better hairbrush out there? The one thing I really liked she talked about was, you know, now we see actually a huge push for like hair serums that, you know, stimulate hair growth. There's also scalp care. And she said, like, in terms of hair growth, like, that's, you know, if anything, it's going to be an OTC drug, and there's only one out there. But scalp care is definitely a cool field that she's interested in. And I thought that was really neat.
And one of her suggestions was that everyone could benefit from a clarifying scalp care kind of formula, which I thought this was not something I even considered before because I have dry skin and I have dry hair. So anything clarifying is terrifying to me. And I feel like she was calling me out. She's like, don't brush hair when it's dry. I was like, I barely brush hair and then it's always dry. And then she's like, everyone, it's like, really get in there. Your scalp is more disgusting than you thought. I'm like, very casual with that.
You know, the fact that she said that means she has probably seen some shit.
Some shit under the microscope. She's like, dude, girl, just wash your hair.
Yeah, so really great blog article. She's also really cool. So definitely if you have more hair questions, send them her way. She's very sweet. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big blog update. And hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we are so grateful that Sederma has shared some of their peptides insight with us. For those of you who don't know, Sederma is the peptide powerhouse behind creating fan favorite molecules like haloxyl and matrixyl.
Totally would give them the title of king of peptides.
Yes. So they shared some of the details with us, and we're working on putting kind of going through, and there's a lot. There is a lot. I actually really want to do this like now, but it was taking me a while to wait through all the details and think about how to best present the topic. But look forward to the peptides article.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. I think everyone will really enjoy that.
Yeah.
All right. So before we kick off the news, Gloria, what are you drinking today?
Today I am feeling like a basic bitch, and I have a White Claw.
Yes. What flavor? Flavor is very important.
Natural lime, but I have a ruby grapefruit for the second half of the
I think
podcast.
everyone knows that's a Costco pack.
Yeah, it is.
from that combination. Yeah. And today I'm keeping it simple as well. I'm drinking a little Stella.
We're two basic bitches today.
We are.
Yep.
Yeah. Also because we're recording on a Thursday and we still have work tomorrow. Yeah. All right. So, anyways,
Jump into the news.
In the news. All right. In the news. Kick it off, Gloria.
All right. So, in the news, I feel like everyone's struggling with the news now because no, I don't think anyone expected us to be still knee deep in COVID stuff at this time. But I think 2 episodes ago, Victoria found Allure's like trend of 2021. And this time I found an article that recently came out on Vogue that talked about K-beauty trends for 2021. All right, Victoria, how do you feel about these trends?
Yeah, so they list off things like ginseng, acid layering, carrot seed oil.
I misspelled carrot. Anyway, not important.
Ignore. Gentle retinol, which I thought was interesting. I didn't really think it was a K-beauty trend, but I can see sort of, K-beauty, a lot of people associate it with being gentle. And
I forgot to fold my tinfoil hat for our theory moment.
Yeah. Actually, my theory, she was ready to put it on my head, but... Centella, which
is not new, but hey man, we do like Centella, so keep going, I guess.
I would like to say we were there first. Okay. Clean beauty. That's
also not new, but I guess it's trendier. I want to say, I always feel like before COVID, we traveled to Asia a lot. I always feel like what's interesting to me is the concept of clean is very different in Asia and here. Like, I think the kind of like, plant, all natural brands, they exist in Asia too, but they're always more niche. It's not as mainstream as here. Yeah. And some of the more popular clean beauty claims in the US is not very prevalent in Asia at all. Like, they love their alcohol-based textures because they're very layer-heavy. Both Korean and Japanese beauty are all about layering. So, they've never shown alcohol. I think most brands still use silicone, and that hasn't been tossed under the bus, which is cool.
Yeah, it's a completely different concept. I think that, I would say that ingredient, I don't know. I guess like some of the controversies around safety that we know with like some of these like no list ingredients, they just haven't really made their way to Asia.
Yeah, or anything, they saw the list and like me.
Yeah, or like they just kind of appreciate a more plant-based marketing, but doesn't necessarily, they're not expecting like certain ingredients to be mixed, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they also have pre, pro, and postbiotics.
Which is definitely a global trend
General,
all around.
yeah.
Yeah, which we like.
And then also flexible minimalism.
Actually, this was
Fitty Snails.
Yeah, our friend Fitty Snails. We love her, and she also has a book coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she does. Definitely check that out. And it's launching at a similar time, so we're hoping we get to work with her.
Collab.
Yeah, a little collab. But I really love this idea because holy cow, one of the things that we really struggled with in K-Beauty is the number. They proclaim that you have to do so many steps.
The same 10-step routine.
Yeah, you have to do all these steps in order to get good skin. And personally, as someone who is very lazy and like also being an industry insider, we know that like that's not necessarily the case.
Yep.
Of course, if you're doing a 10-step routine,
nothing wrong with it.
You don't have to change it. But to say that it's a must, I think was really hard for me.
Yeah, and something that we do always preach is that if you have sensitive skin, try to keep the step minimal. Like get to know your friend, like court your skin a little bit, date it, get to know it, because 10 steps means 10 potential causes of irritation if you have sensitive skin,
right? And
you want to start off just a little simpler.
Yeah,
but yeah, we love this point that Fitty Snails brought up. I think it's something that we try to encompass in our product development strategy as well. Like small, like our brand Prod PD doesn't follow that traditional like, oh, we have to have a toner and a serum and a cream and a night cream. None of our products fall super neatly in those in these categories. So yeah, I think that's great. The ginseng, they call it Hanbang ingredients. A lot of that is centered around anti-inflammatory, which is also great. I do want
global trend. I was gonna ask you about acid layering. How'd you feel about that?
So, I think it's kind of an interesting idea. In the article, they kind of framed it as, oh, you use like several gentle acids, several low concentration acids as a way of getting the efficacy. And I think it's great, but a lot of American products have much higher concentrations. They're designed to be used by themselves. So this idea, take it as an idea, proceed with caution. When we did our acid line, we made sure it's at the highest level, but it's designed to be a rinse-off mask and or a booster to be mixed.
To be diluted and mixed.
Yeah, but we do see a lot of brands starting to push that percentage higher, and they promote that layering, which can be a little dangerous. So just proceed with caution, and when in doubt, check with us.
Yeah, I would say it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But also the flip side is if you're used to a higher level of acids, this actually might not work for you because you're already kind of like acid tolerant, and to kind of get that like daily maintenance, that daily like, you know, constant exfoliation, these like more gentle acids and this layering approach might not quite work for you. So.
Yeah, and yeah, one really good, say 30% glycolic peel once a week or once every other week, if your skin's tolerant, is probably better than if you're layering 8 different 3% glycolic acid products.
Right, exactly. All right. Next. Sorry.
Before we move on, I do want to comment on the gentle, low percentage retinol one. We recently did a decode on a Paula's Choice product that has 0.01% retinol. Low microdosing retinol, I guess, is okay. But and as someone who is not very retinol tolerant, we think using lower levels and promoting, like straying away from that crazy high, like always pushing for that 1% or even claiming above 1 is a good idea. But know that most papers have proven efficacy at the lowest 0.1%. So when you get into the 0.01 or 1% parts per billion, you're probably not getting much. Anyway, I just want to point that out.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, if you are struggling with retinol dosing, another method is to just dial down the frequency.
Yes.
That's actually a much better way of managing without having to deal with like too low of a concentration. And yeah, hoping that that's going to lead you 12 weeks from now, it's going to help you in terms of efficacy. So next thing, Gloria found a great article on skin. It's called the Skincare Ingredients Check. And I personally, it was like really great for me to hear, but it basically interviews a derm that shares kind of how they feel about all these transparent ingredients.
Yes, and it really, really resonate with us. So the article is on Well and Good, and it's called Skincare Ingredients Check. If you're the derm that wrote the article, reach out to us because we love to chat.
I think you feel how we feel.
Right. So when we first started, we kept pushing, oh, you gotta know the percentages. It is your baseline it's like your insurance check for knowing that this product is probably gonna work for you. And now we got to a point where I think so many brands are catching on, consumers are getting savvier. People are going way crazy on the percentages.
Yeah.
They're punching way above what you're supposed to be using for your skin. And that means irritation down.
Yeah. We never thought, I don't think we could have predicted that 2 years from when we started probably 2 years ago, I don't think we could have predicted that. Now our tone is, hey, transparent ingredient lists are great, but just, make sure you find the right level. It's not like make sure you're getting enough anymore. We really had to get people to like kind of like, especially one of the biggest examples is niacinamide, get people to like slow your roll for a sec. Do you know that you only need 2 to 5% in these 30% niacinamides? Like, what are we trying to do here, guys?
Yeah.
What is this? Is this a pissing match? What's going on?
It is a pissing match. And the ones that's like, niacinamide, if you just solubilize it in water, you can get up to like 50%.
Yeah.
So that's not the goal. And I think that article, she made such a good point. I think one of the points this derm talked about was the right level for you might be different too. When you see out there, all these people and brands are telling you, hey man, like I got 50% here, I got 30% there. You might feel like, oh crap, is my product not working? Yeah. But just dig a little deeper. Always DM us if you don't know what the right percentage range should be.
It's funny you brought this up because today we actually just got a question about Paula's Choice, who came out with a 9% salicylic acid topical.
Aggro.
It's so again, like you don't need that much. Especially at this point, salicylic acid is not going to be your main acne fighter. It is help. It does help as kind of like a co-helper in your other actives.
Yeah.
So you don't need that much salicylic acid, and it's things like that are starting to make our jobs a lot more complicated in trying to teach people. So I think it's a great point. Like, keep that in mind.
Quick aside, salicylic acid typically used between 0.5 and 2%.
Yeah.
You can find it in esthetician clinics at like up to 30% as a peel. But you're taking that off. You're not leaving overnight.
And you're not doing it every night.
Yeah.
And usually it's just a short-term treatment. So.
But from the Well and Good blog, when I was putting this podcast together, I scrolled too fast and I copied the wrong link. So I got to, did you know that the brand Poo-Pourri has a 2021 What is Your Best Bathroom Scent quiz, which we thought is pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
Check it out. Yeah, they talk about your general lifestyle. You go down a little map and it points you to a scent. And apparently mine is tropical hibiscus.
By the way, I bought a bottle of Poo-Pourri for my fiance. He does not use it, but
do you wish you did?
Boy, do I.
Yeah. All right, cool. Awesome.
Last but not least, this one's a tough one. We
talk about press, like, I don't know, with the pandemic and everyone being cooped out at home, you can tell some of these topics are getting a little rough. So now,
home devices.
Yeah. These.
Yeah, Yeah, so you can tell this is not our favorite topic, but because everyone's at home now, there is a big push and a lot of people reviewing at home home devices, from lasers to like really mystical light devices and also micro like infusion stuff.
Also, it's because we really miss our estheticians and we can't go see them.
I think my general stance is way to go see an esthetician. A lot of home devices probably can't replicate the results you're gonna get in office. And I will say there's two home devices that I've personally tried. One is the Tria laser hair removal one, and also their laser anti-aging device. But the laser one I just never really got into it because at the time I was 25, so I didn't really need it. But the laser hair removal, I'll tell you, I've gotten in-office hair removal before, and the at-home laser hair removal thing, it works. But your pain tolerance when you're doing it yourself is about this much lower, like this much lower than in office. In office, they're like, "Are you okay? Do you need a numbing cream?"
Breathe out.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And then at home, I'll zap one spot. I'm like, oh, okay, and that's me for the day. I don't know. I feel like people don't give the execution, that finessing office enough credit.
Yeah.
Especially for going back to micro, like derma rollers and maybe laser devices. It pays to have a professional really like assess your skin and get it right.
Absolutely. And even with like the laser hair removal, like let's be real, there's going to be certain angles that you just can't get yourself, and you need the esthetician to place it correctly, you know. So the other thing that just makes it so hard to talk about this category is just, you think skincare is unregulated, like has no regulation. Like, devices absolutely do not have to answer to anyone. They literally just ride the like trend of like the trendiness of it. So, I mean, one of the most shocking things about this list from HuffPost is the cost. You have anything varying from $400 to $2,000. And there is just no way to substantiate if they're actually using, you know, let's say their light therapies at the right frequency for the right time, at the right strength, you know. And it's really hard to shop for this, to be honest.
And not to be a Debbie, well, kind of a Debbie Downer, but there's a while ago, some of them will claim they're FDA approved, and that is not a complete safe fill claim either. A while ago, and I really recommend this podcast for anyone. I think it's on American Life, but look for a medical device podcast episode on NPR. It's one of the NPR podcasts. And they talked about, and this one wasn't on cosmetic stuff. It was on like actual, like heart valve medical device. And they talked about how that system is a little broken, doesn't work as well as people think. And just think how low on the priority list your cosmetic at home device is to the FDA. So,
I would say, you know, if you are thinking about going down this route, do we believe you should be spending a ton of money on these devices? No. But if you want to treat yourself, we're not, you know, I understand that aspect too. So I would say just like, it's, again, I feel like a lot of times on this podcast, we just talk about like managing expectations. Self-care is a thing. I believe it, especially right now. It's okay to do it, but just you shouldn't be expecting anything miraculous, and you shouldn't be paying a buttload to get those miracles. If that were the case,
if a device costs $2,000 and an office treatment costs $3,000, just go with $3,000.
Exactly. And honestly, getting that esthetician treatment, you could get that treatment 10 times before you pay off that device. So anyway. All right.
That's it. That's the news. Rant over. Uplifting stuff, guys.
Next time we're going to look for more uplifting things.
My bad.
All right. Now, time for the meat.
The meat. We have the... Let's do it.
Vitamin C.
All right. Okay. first things first, before we talk about the derivatives, why we usually talk about LAA. Go back to the book. The whole chapter is practically dedicated to L-ascorbic acid.
Our ode to ascorbic acid.
We heart LAA. Simple and short, it does work, and it has a lot of data covering the main trio of benefits that's associated with LAA. One is antioxidant / like more age prevention type of benefits. One is brightening. Vitamin C is a tyrosinase inhibitor. So there's that. And then last but not least, it boosts collagen production. With derivatives, you are mostly going to get 1 out of 3 more proven, I mean. So a lot of the derivatives we cover today, they're mostly marketed as and more proven as hyperpigmentation fighters.
Yeah. I just want to add that, a lot of times the reason why people go to derivatives is for 2 reasons. One is you're experiencing irritation with ascorbic acid, which happens. We have found that there is a subcategory of people that just really don't do well with ascorbic acid. The other thing is like you are really concerned about stability. The fact that it's changing color on you, the smell is getting stronger on you.
Smells like fermented meat.
Yeah, I do want to suggest that, if that is your concern, just know that we often recommend vampire settings. So store in a cool, dark place. And just when you do get it, just use it all the way through. Don't like come back to it, after a few months and then take a break. That's probably the best way. But as for its shelf life, if you keep to those parameters, like I just really wouldn't worry about the stability problem as much, especially if your skin can't handle ascorbic acid. I mean, it's got so many great benefits, so yeah, that's why we champion it as like the biggest like age prevention move for your skin. So, anyways, sorry.
So, some reasons why you might want to consider a vitamin C derivative, as Victoria mentioned, irritation. If you can't handle L-ascorbic acid, you might want to try a derivative. LAA famously is stable under pH of 3.5. That's not the low. That's not the only reason, but it can contribute to irritation. So that's one, and most of the vitamin C derivatives will be at a slightly higher pH of like mostly around 5, some even a little higher, which is closer to your skin's pH. Because you want to, because there's so many of them coming out all the time.
And they all sound so fancy, and they're coming out in new formulas, fancy packaging. I get it.
Yeah. So, and then 3 is if you want to layer a lot of active ingredients. L-ascorbic acid, because of the pH it's at, and also its instability. There's some cases out there and some studies that show that it's not super friendly when you layer with a bunch of other actives.
So the texture isn't great. Sometimes it gets pretty sticky, so to want to layer anything over it, I get it.
Me.
Yeah.
So today we're gonna run through rapid fire style, sort of rapid, some different vitamin C derivatives. The first category, and these are not any sort of official categories, these are Chemist Confessions categories. First category is the current industry favorite love children, as in you see it everywhere. Yeah. It is everywhere.
Especially recently. Have you noticed like this season is the season of vitamin C derivatives?
Yes. Okay, hold on. Tinfoil hat.
Okay, we gotta prepare it next time.
I think there is a really beastly salesperson at Big THD ascorbic and Big 3-O ascorbic acid that's like, hey man, my ethylated ascorbic acid and THC ascorbic is like super awesome, and all the brands are like, oh my god, you're so awesome. So like, I don't know who's selling these 2 ingredients, but they're everywhere right now.
I think also it's like, oh my god, we don't have to deal with chemists and their dumb stability issues.
It's true. So these 2 are a lot more stable than L-ascorbic acid, and their claims like THC ascorbic is 50 times more effective than L-ascorbic acid.
Show me.
Yeah.
For those of you, please show me.
Show me the money. And those claims usually are made in vitro without a lot of like actual skin data to back it up. But anyway, there are two main industry love child, and that's your THC ascorbate, that stands for tetrahexyldecyl ascorbate, and also 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid, which sometimes is marketed as ethylated ascorbic acid.
Yeah. And THC, probably the unique thing about it is that it's oil-based. So that does kind of provide a unique angle in terms of how it's formulated, layering-wise. And Gloria did a really cool post on THC, actually a couple, highlighting it.
I try to be fair because sometimes like science is a moving progress. So even if we talk shit about it back in 2018, maybe there's a new really cool study that we missed in 2020. So I kind of did
just
an update.
How science is, guys.
Yep. So I did an update on this molecule, trying to see if there's any new data on it. Not really. So THC ascorbate is generally considered a skin brightener. You can find quite a few clinicals on it, but then if you dig a little deeper, you'll notice that all these clinicals combine it with other proven ingredients already.
Yeah.
I love this one study that has 7% THC ascorbate. It's great at treating melasma, yada, yada, yada. And you read closely, you realize the formula they tested also has 10% L-ascorbic acid, and you're like, very cool, guys, very cool.
Wait a second.
Yeah, the only paper I did find that's like more recent, that only uses THC ascorbate as the main active ingredient is one that uses up to 30% THC ascorbate. So, in summary, you look for higher levels. If a brand claims this ingredient but doesn't tell you how much is in it, probably not worth it. And really the most important thing is if the brand itself has done a clinical test on it. So I have to give a shout out to PTR's, Peter Thomas Roth's Potency, because they combine it with a almost absurd amount of ferulic acid and vitamin E. I think it's like 2% ferulic acid and 3% vitamin E, or the other way around, which is really, really high, by the way.
And also, that's just not the point. Sorry, I just don't understand.
A little bit too high, but they did do a clinical test on this combo with 20% THC ascorbate. And yeah, with these new molecules, it's a lot of times it's hard to tell if it'll work or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Oh, and one more note. Vitamin C products, a lot of times we'll say, oh, use as the first step after cleansing, but that's because most vitamin C based products are water based. But THC ascorbate, as Victoria mentioned, is oil based.
Yeah.
So make sure it comes after your hydrators. I think your toner, your hyaluronic serums, this goes after.
Exactly. All right. And the second love child is 3-O-ethyl. This one
is a very awkward love child.
Yeah. So this one, I would say, is also trending. We're seeing a couple new launches with it, and we're seeing some pretty high percentages. Gloria found one from Allies of Skin that's up to 25% 3-O-ethyl, and the other awkward thing is actually there's more data on this being a potential allergen than actually having efficacy. So, what does that mean?
So traditionally, I think one of the most original, really, this is a little dated, but one of the oldest data sheets I've gotten on 3-O-ethyl from the manufacturer, it recommends using it at like 2%. So these brands coming up 25, 30, I'm like, oh.
So again, going back to the news when we're talking about percentages, now we're having this issue with vitamin C where they're like, I'm used to ascorbic acid being at 20%. Therefore, all of these derivatives have to be at 20%.
Or higher!
Exactly. And that's just not how that works at all, And
every molecule is unique in how it interacts with skin.
Exactly. Even if it falls under the same category of vitamin C. So hopefully that gives you a better perspective on how all these new molecules kind of like fit in and things to look for. What we will say is if you do find a very high percentage 3-O-ethyl, definitely proceed with caution. Patch test. What that means is just place it on a small spot on your face. Look for a reaction overnight. See how your skin responds, and then also definitely introduce it one at a time. Don't just start a bunch of new products all at the same time, including this one. But yeah.
Yeah, I will say 3-O-ethyl is one that's like definitely a little concerning to me because some of the for each of these categories, I was trying to find like representative products that have these ingredients.
You feel like this one abuses
the
percentage?
Oh yeah. So we have the Allies of Skin that combines 25% 3-O-ethyl with 10% THC ascorbate. And then there's also Ole Herrick's and Banana Bright. Banana Bright that has 15% 3-O-ethyl with 5% PHA, glucose, and lactone. These are all pretty high, and then the OG is Niod, which is like a sub brand to the Ordinary. Has an ethylated one that's also pretty high levels. I think that one's at 10%.
Yeah,
these are all like,
so
getting a little high.
Okay, just to help people organize their thoughts, is it a better move to do a higher percentage THC? You would want to pick that over 3-O-ethyl to start. If let's say you want to start exploring these derivatives, let's like build them a roadmap.
Actually, yeah, I would, especially given every ingredient out there. I don't wanna make it seem like 3-O-ethyl is an irritant.
Devil.
But there's always a potential no matter which way you go. But let's just say when I was like doing my research backing up this episode, the sheer number of contact dermatitis cases because of this ingredient is a little alarming.
Did they mention like percentages of the products they use for these allergen cases?
To be honest, I didn't compile that data because a lot of times they might not even call the specific product. So you don't really know. So sometimes for these reports, all you can do is gather the number of times it's been recorded.
Frequency. Yeah. Okay. Got it. All right. So that's for the two love childs at the moment. But there's definitely some other derivatives that we, the chemists, love. And we actually talk about a lot too. So yeah, rapid fire. Let's walk through it. First things first, MAP, SAP.
That's your magnesium and sodium ascorbyl phosphate.
Yeah. These actually, sodium ascorbyl phosphate is actually one of my favorite, I'll say. It has some interesting data on helping treating acne. And what you'll find is if you shop for a vitamin C product on Amazon, you will think that you are buying an ascorbic acid product. But most of them are actually SAP products. So that's actually Mad Hippie is probably the best example of that one.
That one has 15%. It combines with a classic ferulic acid and vitamin E.
Yeah. And then we also have MAP, right? Gloria, would you say that's your favorite?
That one is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because that one has a lot of that one's pretty proven in terms of clinicals relative to the other vitamin C derivatives. It even has a really cool study on wound healing and how it does promote collagen production. Now, this is on open wounds, right? So we don't know if topical MAP really has the same effect as L-ascorbic acid on penetration. Yeah, but it shows a lot of promise for a derivative on actual clinicals. The problem is there's not a lot of representative products we can find MAP, and partially because last time I checked, it is a lot more expensive,
right? That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Also, there's not very many suppliers, actually.
There isn't. So, insight into our company, I think at one point vitamin C is always on our radar, but for us, again, our ethos is to create things that don't quite exist out there. So, because there's so many vitamin C, we haven't solidified what our angle is on it yet. But because of that, I did look into MAP supply. My God, it's expensive.
And scarce. There's a single source, it feels like. Yeah. Great. And then the other one is ascorbyl glucoside.
Yeah, ascorbyl glucoside, it's both well known and almost a little mysterious because it's considered a quasi drug in Japan. It's very popular in Asian products.
Which is a good sign.
Yeah. You will see it in a lot of I think one of the more signature products of this ingredient is I think it's one of those Roto, like the higher, the Gokujun, like hyper moist. They have a whitening version that has ascorbyl glucoside. But a lot of Japanese products have that, especially if they market as a whitening product. A lot of them tend to use ascorbyl glucoside. Usually combined with tranexamic acid, actually.
Yeah. I do want to say I do love the data around ascorbyl glucoside. Yeah. But for me personally, I'm very hesitant to try products with ascorbyl glucoside because those formulas, for some reason in my mind, they're on average they're tinted white.
Yeah, a lot of Asian products with it.
So just I think just keep that in mind, especially with Asian formulas. It's just natural; they all want porcelain skin. But that's the one thing for me. It's like if it has it, I definitely want to check if it's got like tin oxide, mica, anything like that when you're using it.
So yeah, those are some of our favorites. And I did want to add that even though MAP, I just said there's not a lot of representative products, I did notice that Glossier come out recently with the new product called Super Glow that has 5% magnesium ascorbyl phosphate. I think 5% is a tit on the low side in terms of like the proven range, which is very comparable to vitamin L-ascorbic acid, which is 10%, but 5% is still a solid level. It's not overdoing it, so I'll take this over anything else. So we'll look forward to a decode on Instagram on that product too.
Yeah. All right. So definitely want to give some tips as well as you're navigating things like red flags to look out for. My favorite one that I love to tell people is when you are on Amazon, you may find a very incorrect ingredient list.
Yes. Vitamin C is not a real ingredient name.
No, if they use that and call it out as vitamin C on the ingredient list, definitely don't use that formula. You're talking about a brand that doesn't know actually how to properly list out their ingredients, so this is a huge red flag.
To the trash can, go! And while we're on this topic, but anything vitamin, unless it's in parentheses that says, oh, by the way, this is vitamin C or whatever, it's not a real ingredient name. Vitamin anything is not a real ingredient name. For example, vitamin E, you will find tocopherol acetate or tocopherol as ingredient names. Yeah. If it's listed as vitamin E, run like the wind.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that I know grinds Gloria's gears, as does mine, but I love seeing her get upset, is vitamin C rich extract.
I've done a few math problems about this shit, and it is to the trash can it goes. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many...
guys, brace yourself. Brace your ears.
How many claims they write about, like, oh, it's got 50 times the vitamin C of your friendly neighborhood orange. Like, if you do the math, it doesn't got much, like there's vitamin C, because it's a higher use level ingredient, you will never get close to even 5% if you use a quote unquote vitamin C rich extract. Because what your skin needs topically is very different than what your body needs when you eat it. So, if a product says, this is a vitamin C antioxidant and it's anti-aging, we use this exotic berry that has an extract that's super rich in vitamin C. Yeah, run. No, that goes in trash can.
Also, if they use some very shady lingo like 10% vitamin C blend or... the sad thing is with transparency, they're now forcing people to level up and read between the lines. Yeah. And what really honestly pisses us off is that, you're trying to be transparent and then they, read through the lines and you see that, they're claiming it's 10% of this vitamin C fruit extract, that vitamin C rich fruit extract and not the actual molecule. That doesn't help anyone.
Quick math, let's say they have 10% extract, which, by the way, a lot of them don't even have that. And the extract itself has 10% vitamin C. That means you have 1% vitamin C, which is nothing. So, the end. Case closed.
All right. And then last thing is now in this day and age, percentages.
Yeah.
We just talked about transparent percentage, and now we're saying if you don't find a percentage, that's also not helpful either, because it doesn't really give us a lot of confidence that you're getting the right stuff and you're getting the right amount.
I will say the only people that can get a buy on listing a percentage is if they've done clinical tests.
Yeah.
But other than that, vitamin C, generally speaking, that bucket. So, this is where it gets really guys, I'm sorry. I know this is confusing because every molecule is different.
Mm-hmm.
So for your MAP, SAP, and THD ascorbate,
Mm-hmm.
they're very similar in level to your L-ascorbic acid. So think 5 to 20, maybe 30 max. And then for your ascorbyl glucoside and 3-O-ethyl, those need to be a little lower, like under 5, 2%.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good reference points. And with that, we should wrap this up.
This is a hard, chewy cut of meat.
Yeah, definitely got to follow up with some charts for you guys, so we'll definitely do that. But yeah, so hopefully that gives you kind of a good snapshot.
There's a chart in the book about vitamin C, so check that out.
Yeah, so and of course, if you have any questions navigating the space, you know where to find us. So that's it. And now to our favorite part.
Let's break it up.
Let's break it up. Break it up. Woo! It's the Animal Corner.
So guys, we promise you we will return to the cute and cuddly. So yes, we did.
We're doing it today. All right, Gloria, which animal are we talking about today?
We are doing wombats today.
Oh boy.
Wombats are super cute. They're little marsupials, and when you think weird animals, they're mostly from Australia, and you are not wrong.
Yeah.
Wombats are really cute, and one of the most distinguishing qualities to the wombat is their poo.
Yeah. Well, first things first, let's give them a description for those who don't have video. They kind of look like a fatter koala.
Yeah, they're super cute.
Maybe less fuzz on the ears. But yes, one thing you should know about them, is if you find poop on the floor that is a perfect cube, you've got a wombat in your territory.
Yes, and you gotta wonder which of your neighbors is hoarding wombats in the basement.
Yeah, exactly. So Gloria, why do they poop cubes?
So this apparently, when I started looking into it, I realized apparently this has been one of those great mysteries science have been trying to solve. Is why does wombat poop cubes? And I am not even exaggerating. I looked at pictures of wombat poop cubes, and it's not like, it's faintly defined. It is a perfect cube. Yeah. And it is. And the thing is, like, wombat poop cube is, like, more consistent than, I almost want to say Arby's burger quality, but that's not getting into trouble.
Let me get this straight. We stole their line for the meats on the content, and now we're throwing some shade at Arby's. All right. Yeah. You're right.
So for a long time,
Arby's. I'm sorry.
So for a long time, the biggest mystery is how are they even making poop cubes? If you think about it, how do you squeeze out cubes from your intestines?
So is their intestine a cube shape?
Yeah. So at first, that's like a logical thought process, but it's not. And it turns out that their intestines. So let's say a pig's intestine or
human.
Yeah.
Actually, you and me.
I don't know about human intestines, but I'm pretty sure it is because humans are very similar to pigs in a lot of ways. Human skin and pig skin has a lot of the same mechanical properties too.
Sorry, Peter, but we do use them.
Not us personally, but
anyway.
So pig intestine, the elasticity on it is uniform throughout the entire intestine. But wombat intestine, apparently it's not. There's like a gradient and there's different patches with different elasticity. So basically when the poop goes through it, it gets squeezed at different forces. People think that it's because of really effectively squeezes out all the water. So those poop cubes be dry AF. And so it's literally, it says it's like molding the poop as it
It's
goes
like
along.
brown sugar cubes.
It's like massaging it as it goes along, and then the poop cube comes out.
I think of it as like Japanese sushi precision.
Yes.
Anyways, so yeah, that's awesome.
That's
I've
why
always
people
wondered why.
Yeah.
but, yeah.
And apparently they use it to mark territories and communicate. So if someone leaves a poop cube in your front door, it's sending you a strong message.
Yeah.
Saying, don't mess with this wombat.
Awesome. Any other fun facts about the wombat?
Oh, a group of wombats is called a mob.
That's hilarious.
So cute.
We're gonna try to include a sketch of a mob of wombats
with their mob of poop cubes.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Yay.
Oh, I promised my sister I'd give her a shout out because she sent me the article. So, here's your shout out.
Thank you. All right. And last but not least, we are wrapping this episode up with some Q&A.
Yeah. So, this is our Q&A and feedback corner. I added it because it's like sometimes we got pat ourselves on the back.
Aww.
So,
you're right. You are absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
Our friend Catherine, this is Catherine Vogel, says, so happy you guys are back. Victoria mentioned in our first episode back that she's looking for a mineral SPF.
Mm-hmm.
So she couldn't find one that she likes either until this new Saie Beauty one that's spelled SAIE.
Like it.
So she recommended that she thinks it's the tinted one in the purple packaging is awesome and blends like a dream. We haven't gotten our hands on it yet, but really...
Wait, read the rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you guys for the awesome content. It's nice to hear intelligent skincare talk with the same sense of humor I have. Oh my god, really? Thank you. I'd be interested in your thoughts on beauty products as well as ones, especially the ones that straddle skincare makeup category. That's actually a great point. Maybe that'll be a thing for the next podcast episode is makeup skincare hybrids.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, thank you for the suggestion. We haven't got our hands on it yet, but I just wanted to share with our listeners.
Oh no, I purchased.
Oh, you did?
I saw it and I was like, ding. So thank you, Catherine. I can't wait to try it out. I will definitely let you know my feedback on the sunscreen as well. I'm really anxious to try it because I really like to not pay $65 for Murat's mineral sunscreen. So really appreciate it. But
so
I think she brought up a good point about the skincare makeup category.
Yeah, there's hybrids. A lot more now, and I my tinfoil hat on again because everyone's at home.
We're just gonna take turns.
Yeah, makeup sales probably not great because who's really like. When's the last time you saw someone with like full makeup and lipstick and everything, right? So they're probably like, maybe if we say skin benefits, people will buy it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So question 2. This is from Tate Natoli. She asked, would using thermal mist dry the skin out if not followed by a moisturizer? Which, to give you some context, Gloria wrote a blog post on thermal waters and whether or not it's a thing or should be a thing or not. And I think it's a great question to kind of address here as everyone kind of knows that it's they market it as a thing and sometimes it's touted as like that miracle step. But yeah.
Yeah, so thermal waters are just that. They're water-based. So if you have pretty oily skin or oily-ish skin, you might not need a moisturizer to follow up. But I think in most cases you do need it.
Yeah, I would say like probably
90%.
More than that, 95% even, yeah.
Yeah, especially if you have dry skin or if you're trying to use it as a refresher on, say, airplane rides and stuff. Because the reality is, your skin, that water isn't going to be sealed into your skin without help of a moisturizer. Water-based components is just one of 3 things you need in that department.
Exactly. So, while it's great that, you're trying to introduce like more, I would say, moisturizing components, especially if you are worried about dry skin, like definitely not alone. And I will say we did get a question about the Caudalie toner, the spray toner. The last time I checked, that actually had a lot of alcohol in it. It's a cult favorite, and I think people really like the refreshing texture and maybe kind of the finish.
Alcohol be fresh AF.
Yeah, exactly. So, and especially those two, like, you know, on planes, it's just really not ideal. We would like to suggest going a different direction in looking like a glowing panda with Vaseline.
Yes.
So, yeah, great question. All right. Last but not least, I really wanted to include this question because I wanted to share with you kind of how chemists break down questions about their routine.
Yes.
One of the most common scenarios, we're going to use an example here. So a lady who we're going to leave anonymous, she writes to us, I'm 48. I would like anti-aging products that work but won't rip your face off. But do you get results without spending my entire $1,400 rent check? I have very dry skin with no allergies to anything, but I do need help in picking products. So this is the questions she sends us, and we have to follow up with a few questions.
Yeah. So usually, and this is the process we go through with chemists recommending, and also when you guys reach out to us about routine questions. So step one is what's your current routine?
Yeah.
Because we need to make sure that before we get into anti-aging ingredients, we're covering cleanse, moisturize, sun protect, and in a well-rounded way. So that's step one.
Yeah. So it feels like 21 questions because we want to know, we want to know the products you're using. Sometimes we'll even ask, like, for this case, she talks about how she's using retinol. But it turns out that she is actually using 0.5% tretinoin, which is actually the gold standard of the whole retinoid category, and it's prescription for us. She also mentioned she uses sunscreen every day, and all she wants is just dewy, healthy skin. So how would we go about suggesting a routine that won't break the bank?
Yeah, so tretinoin, because it's already gold standard, and like we said, if you're on any sort of retinoid, it's best to center your routine around the retinoid.
Yeah.
So in this case, we want to say, okay, you are already active on correction, which is the tretinoin. So how are we doing on the prevention part? Because it's a dual path. So which vitamin C are you using, if you're using any, and how are you fitting it into your routine?
Right.
That's usually the next one.
Step one. Yeah. She also mentions dry skin. So we usually like to say, you know, if your skin's starting to get dry, let's try not having to change your moisturizer. Let's try adding a layer of something extra to kind of like buffer it, give it that oomph. And so we mention, you know, you can consider a face oil, and if that's still not helpful, Vaseline.
Yeah.
As a last step.
And I want to add that as someone with dry skin, I think the industry tends to favor that lighter texture. 'Cause, I mean, let's be real, even if you have dry skin, you're not gonna want that thick, balmy, like really rich, oily feel.
Yeah.
Which means sometimes it's hard to find that like gold standard occlusive petrolatum in your products. And the reality is it does work and it helps a ton, especially if you're on tretinoin. You might not be dry throughout, but like I call my mustache though the Jafar.
You're right.
Very, very dry.
It also makes me think of Mulan.
Oh yeah. The matchmaker. Yeah. This gets really dry. So for those of you who really hate the Vaseline texture, we do recommend that you don't have to slather it over your face, but for these, you know, like where your problem areas are, just dabble it on.
Yeah. And then finally, to, you know, level up her routine, she mentions really dry skin. So our go-to is not like to do acids first, just because she's already on a pretty high strength retinoid, excuse me. So what we want to do is actually, let's try to introduce some peptides. Actually, peptides and retinol go really well together.
Yeah.
They generally like the same pH. And don't really do the skin too much damage, like in terms of irritation and adding on to tretinoin side effects. So that's inevitably where we pointed her to.
Yeah, peptides. And the gold standard peptides is wild because there's a ton out there. There's literally an infinite number of possible combinations.
And I guarantee you not all of them work.
Probably 90% don't work. So
on that depressing note.
Yeah, Matrix was a gold standard there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this gives you an idea of like how, you would want to kind of like think about your routine in leveling up and also managing irritation and really catering to like kind of like your skin quirks. But yeah, all in all, hope that was helpful, and we have reached the end of episode 17.
Oh my god, so consistent, so good.
Yeah, so I believe every subject we have proposed thus far has actually not happened for the next episode.
We have lied every single episode so far. What it's like a betting game. So Victoria, what do you think will be our next episode?
Oh man, I feel like acne has been like waiting in the wings. Ooh. It's such a complex topic. There's telehealth now, telemedicine, and just kind of like weeding through that. I know it's kind of yep. All right, yeah. So I'm gonna say we're gonna try to put acne on the docket for you guys.
Yeah, and acne is such a huge topic. So yeah, good luck to you, Victoria.
I was like, good luck to them, but I was like, oh, to me, you're right. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So, if you have any questions, you know where to find us. But hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I guess we're out. Yeah.
And Stella.
Enjoy the weekend, guys, and we will see you guys soon.